Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to San Francisco, our beloved city by the bay. So pleased to have you all here, and hopefully you made it here safely from places near and far. And I hope you enjoyed your tours today and that you were able to get out and about and walk and you stayed dry with our unusual weather here. If you did enjoy your tours, I will admit to being one of your tour guides, and if not, I'm going to go back to my day job, which is to run the Union Square Business Improvement District as the executive director. But my role here today is to introduce our next speaker, and let me say that we are so very grateful to the City and County of San Francisco for stepping up alongside of us to host this IDA conference. They're urban champions and have also put in a lot of sweat equity in organizing many of the tours that you went on today and also for the rest of the week. They've really just done an amazing job. And our fearless leader really embodies the three sort of sub-themes of this conference: the innovation, inclusion, and inspiration. So quickly on innovation, huge fan of high tech, brought so many tech firms, starting with Twitter, into the central market area, which really needed some revitalization, now known as the Twitter tax. Also, he's a very inclusive mayor, wants to make sure that everyone can live here and can afford to live here, and has a huge housing measure on the ballot this November, which we're all going to support. So thank you for that. Raised the minimum wage last year up to $15 an hour. Again, trying to make it possible for everyone to be here. And finally, inspiration. Who could not be inspired by this beautiful city by the bay here with the scenic views and what have you? And if you're not inspired by that, you certainly could be inspired by our giants, our world champion giants, 2 years in a row, 2012 and of course 14, and he inspired us all with some amazing parades down our main boulevard, Market Street. So please join me in welcoming who will hopefully be our mayor for the next 4.5 years, the man behind the mustache, Mayor Ed Lee. Come on up.
Oh, wow, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, an official welcome to the 3-time World Series champion City County San Francisco. I have to say that because the dreaded Dodgers are in town. All right, calm yourself down. Calm yourself down. Well, good afternoon. I wanted to be here personally to welcome the 61st International Downtown Association here to San Francisco, and I'm really glad you came. You know, when I found out that there was such an association that exchanges and promotes the concepts and the practices of BIDs and CBDs, I got excited, I have to say, because, you know, what those acronyms, what those initials mean to me is about partnerships. And this is the way I've been running the city of County of San Francisco in my brief tenure. I'm still in my first term. I was interim mayor, but I've had the lucky opportunity to work for the city and county of San Francisco for about 27 years. I've been the director of the Human Rights Commission, the director of purchasing. By the way, that was a fun job. Spending $1 billion of the city money every year, that's a fun job. To the hardest job, Public Works Director, then City Administrator, then Interim Mayor, and then my very first elected office. The last time I was elected to any office before being mayor was Senior Class President. So you got to know that it's less about politics that I come to occupy this wonderful position, and it's more about what I believe the city continue and can be, and what it can always become for people who, for decades like myself. You know, when I announced that I was moving to San Francisco, and I was invited in by a mayor that really wanted to challenge me, I told the kids, and the kids jumped up and down their beds, and they were saying, "We're going to Disneyland. We're going to Disneyland." And they thought of San Francisco as their Disneyland because so many wonderful things are happening, whether it's the cultural enclaves of all the different neighborhoods, whether it was the international languages that were being spoken, where it was just this incredible things that happened on the streets. And they began to learn the words innovation a long, long time ago. And I was able to take them on some fun trips. As public work directors, I took my daughters on graffiti trips with paintbrushes and with gallons of paint. And they would look up at me, "You sure you have permission to paint the stuff out off your parking traffic signal boxes, Daddy?" I said, "Yes, we ought to do it. We ought to join these hundreds of other volunteers who love their neighborhood so much, who love their corridors so much, that they would spend their own dollars, they would spend their time, they would recruit kids from the local high schools to come in and volunteer and create cleanup days in their neighborhoods." And that pride continues to grow more and more in our city. And more, the successful businesses that you've had a chance to look at and see, from the Wells Fargo banks and Bank of Americas to the newest technology companies that exist, whether it's Salesforce or Twitter, Yelp or Zendesk, or the companies that have been around for a long time, but they've renewed and refreshed their entire brand, not just in their products, but in their relationship to the city. Just this morning, we opened up the brand new headquarters in mid-market of Dolby Laboratories. Dolby Laboratories has been in the city for over 40 years. As you know, they are the label that you see in literally every movie theater across the country, and they make great sound. Guess what they're doing? They're blending art, science, and community into their newest headquarters right here in the middle of Market Street. And when they established their headquarters there, as we gave a 6-year payroll tax exemption to any company who located there, they called and said, "No, we're not going to ask you to be part of your payroll tax exemption. We are so confident about the renovation and the renewal of Market Street, we're coming in without a tax break." 750 employees today. 750 employees. And before they opened, they had, over the past couple of years, almost $2 million in grants, 2,000 volunteer hours of their employees going out into the Tenderloin, south of Market, into areas like Glide Memorial Church and St. Anthony's, feeding food. They celebrated just the other day their grand opening with volunteer hours in all of these neighborhoods. An incredible partnership. They have used art, not just in their buildings, but invited artists from all over the Bay Area to create the art for their building, all 16 floors. And they're incredibly innovative in the future. Do you know that they have neuroscientists working in their sound laboratories as of today on Market Street, and they're thinking through all the innovative things that they can do with sound and with sensory, and they discovered so many things that kind of affect your skin when you see them visually through your eyes, and they're recreating your experience in the theaters, and a lot of things will come to market very soon. I'm excited, and I give you that because it's a company that kind of said arts, science, and community are the things that have kept them in our city and that they are reinvesting in. And the causes that they have are tremendously impactful for our city. When a company comes in, when they want to be partners, I want to be a city that is ready for those partnerships, and so do all of you. Would you love a government that you work in the city that is open to your ideas, open to working with corridor small businesses, with the downtown corridor, with major and small businesses, and trying to say that government can't do it alone? And I am the first to tell you, as many years as I've had and as many positions as I had, government cannot do it alone. We've got to have those partnerships. And this is where the BIDs and the CBDs have become so incredibly important to us. Because when you look at areas of the city like Union Square, when you look at Jane Warner Plaza in the Castro, And by the way, the Castro, I just wanted to say, you don't have to be naked in order to have fun in the Castro. But you can. The Living Innovation Zones on Market Street, Unity Plaza, United Nations Plaza, Jefferson Street Realm, when you get down to Fisherman's Wharf, take a look what we've done on an incredible 2-block stretch where we worked with the Community Benefits District and the businesses down there to recreate the street experience, expand the sidewalks, have new signage that is refreshed, work with the small businesses to refresh their awnings and the cleanliness of the place. As a result, 3 to 4 times more pedestrian traffic in that neighborhood, literally within a year. And the positive experience that people have in refreshing their corridors is touched by every single one of these sites. I hope that you have the time, and I want to thank you for bringing some rain in today. Because the sidewalks are refreshed. Usually, I'm calling up DPW and thanking them for cleaning the streets. And I can call them and say, you had some help this morning. The business improvement districts is basically, as all of you know, an avenue for more success that happens and a collaboration between those that really are dependent upon a safe city, a successful city that brings in a lot of traffic, both foot and on the various transit corridors, but also to make sure that the things that happen on the streets we can manage. And so it shouldn't surprise you that cleanliness becomes a big part of the work that has to be done, thinking about how to reduce trash and graffiti, how to refresh the look of it, because all of that becomes very inviting. Having more eyes and ears. We had some incidences along Lombard Street, our famous crooked street corridor. And as of 2 weeks ago, the supervisors worked with the local CBDs and BIDs, and now we have ambassadors that welcome the thousands of people that are on that street before and after they experience the crooked street, because sometimes they're so busy taking pictures that they are not aware of their surroundings, and we want them to be having a great positive experience. These are another great parts of our partnership. And being able to market those corridors with our SF travel and our international visitors, that also becomes part of the network of collaboration that happens. I want to tell you about one of the exciting projects and developments that we had in the city. As many of you know, the attraction to our cities has become a very dominant movement across our country. People are rediscovering, like my kids are, the excitement of being in a city that is culturally diverse, that offers world-class venues for music and performances, that has technology companies saying, I want to be in an area like San Francisco where the incredible ecosystem of venture capitalists are working together with the banks, are working together with innovators, university, talent. And in that process, we also identify the challenges that we have. When more people come, people of all backgrounds are coming, and we're going to always be a city that welcomes and recognizes its strength is in the diversity. Diversity of not just ethnic origin, but also of gender, of orientation, of status, of all the different backgrounds of economic. And things happen in their lives. And so in an attractive city like San Francisco, of course we have our challenges with homelessness. But we also know and should know how to innovate. Many of us know the entire experience about shelters. And you know sometimes they're limiting. And so we discovered, with the support of another entrepreneur who wanted to remain anonymous, but with a $3 million contribution to us through our Interfaith Council, became an innovator with us about the challenges that homelessness has. And so hopefully some of you will have the opportunity to visit at 16th and Mission, our new navigation center. It's our effort to work with the private sector and the nonprofit sector and the faith-based community and the homeless advocates and homeless people themselves and all of our agencies and service agencies to demonstrate a more refreshed and new model. We've taken the experience of the shelters. We've taken the experience of our Homeless Connect programs, where we bring in all these services on a quarterly basis at our Bill Graham Auditorium and provide everything from haircuts to psychological help, to fixing teeth, to new clothes and food. And we transferred those best ideas and we consolidated it into a navigation center. We called it a navigation center so that the purpose is to help those that are on our streets navigate through the number of different places they can get help, with the hope that at the end they would have sustained housing with supportive services should they have ongoing issues. The Navigation Center, one of its features, that is we don't let everybody come in. They have to be at our invitation. But we get to take entire encampments. We get to take people and their partners and their animals and their property, and we take care of the whole thing. 24/7 food, 24/7 showers, respite areas. They could sleep as much as they want, but they've got on-site counseling. And we have a special program called Homeward Bound, that when they're ready, we could reintroduce them to their families wherever they may have come from. And if they are ready to be invited by caring, loving family members, they also get to go home. And they will go home in a very healthy way. All of this happens in our Navigation Center. We now have over 200 people that have come through. We've housed about 83%, and 17% took Homeward Bound program and went home. This is as much of an experience of services, and it's very rich with that. It is also a demonstration, yet again, of our city's compassion. I have led with the Interfaith Council on this center that we have to have more compassion for our homeless people, not less. And in driving that deeper compassion, we don't want to have people on our streets. And we need to help them get them off of our street for the right reasons and in the right way. We are going to replicate the Navigation Center with the hope of perhaps 3 or 4 more successful entrepreneurs. I know our BIDs and our CBDs, they want our help. They want better models. They want the innovation of the city to figure out better ways to do this. And backing up the Navigation Center, we have, by the end of this year, 500 permanent low-income cost housing for them to come out of the Navigation Center. I actually, frankly, need about 5,000 in order to do it right. So I have some time. We're building in that time. But I've never seen a neighborhood welcome a Navigation Center, and they've never seen a Navigation Center that is so different from a shelter. And so I wanted to share that with you, because you contrast the Navigation Center with Adobe Laboratories, and you realize that if you invite collaboration, particularly with your business partners, you're going to have a lot more success. 3.6% unemployment rate in San Francisco. I got to introduce and pass a 2-year, each year, $9 billion city budget, no cuts to any city department. I've never met a mayor that didn't cut me. Now I've met a mayor that figured out how not to cut valuable services to people. We have increased our investment in our nonprofits. We have increased programs like Invest in Neighborhoods, and these programs that touch every corridor and help all of our businesses, big and small, to be successful. I got the business community to help me create 7,500 paying internship jobs this summer for all of our youth, aimed at low-income youth. Every one of them paid. No freebies anymore for our youth. They all are learning how to earn their way forward. We have one of the very first in the country. Every kid that enrolls in kindergarten in San Francisco is set up with a college account. We pay the first $50, and the parents match it up to $100. And this is done by Citibank with the City County of San Francisco through our treasurer's office. How many cities have a college account for everybody that enrolls in their kindergarten? How many do that? This is what we can do when we match up this incredible stuff. And so I ask you to not only take these trips to the different zones that we have, visit as many sites as you want, take a visit to the Navigation Center, walk up and down our mid-market. Yeah, you're going to see some interesting sites, but I'll tell you, when I was running for mayor 4 years ago, every third storefront on mid-market was vacant. Tremendous amount of trash. Porn theaters and porn shops, every block. Cashing centers that took away the checks from people on welfare so easily were on every single block. This transformation is going on. I have 15 companies today I can look to as partners along mid-market. They employ over 5,000 employees now, and we have volunteerism first that comes out of the employees. Zendesk, all of the companies, and now Adobe and Twitter organized what they call the Twitter Nest just across the street to invite homeless families and low-income families to use their equipment so that they can teach them how to be part of the 21st century and navigate also themselves through the internet. This is a great time. I want to take the opportunity to thank all of you for visiting our city. I want to tell you how excited I am to be the mayor, but more excited. All of my years of experience, I'll tell you, I've never been more positive about this city. And yes, you're going to hear about housing crisis. You're going to hear about homeless crisis. Well, it's kind of like what Mayor Rahm Emanuel said in Chicago, never let an opportunity of a crisis go to waste, right? Because I see it as a remarkable opportunity to join our business community to present the most innovative ideas to all of our challenges. That's why Todd Rufo and his wonderful staff work really hard for me. They're out there in every neighborhood corridor. They're here as part of your host with Karin. John Ram, I want to thank him and his planning directors for working so well with me. We have great planners who are planning all kinds of things that balance this incredible infusion of investment that we're seeing all over, not just downtown, but all of our different corridors. I want to thank Michael Smith and David Downey and your entire board of directors and staff for coming here to San Francisco and taking along you for the ride so that you can be exposed to the things we're doing. But I'm hoping from my staff to learn some great secrets from you. Please give us all of your wonderful ideas. Use this opportunity to exchange those ideas in a free format of wonderful things that we can do together, and allow us to copy as much as we can of what you are successfully doing as well. Because I'm an unabashed mayor. I will copy anybody's good idea and call it my own, especially on election year. With that, thank you again. Welcome to San Francisco. Have a wonderful time.